Welcome, welcome. It's my dog with the Texas Space Navy bringing you a non-Star Citizen video. Today we are going to look at World of Warships. Now, it's been probably 3 years since I've played this, at least, maybe 4. I got disgusted with it and uninstalled it from my hard drive like a 2-year-old. No, I felt like some of the changes they made in the game made it not fun anymore. So I took it off the hard drive. I did the same thing with World of Tanks more recently, but I'll put it back on the hard drive because I want to bring you guys some different games, show you some different gameplay of some of the games I used to play, some of them I still play, and maybe I'll try to get some of my org mates in a game or two with me. Maybe some of you guys can join me in a game or two, and we'll have some great content out there for everybody to digest. So let's go into World of Warships. Again, it's been a long time since I played this game. I have quite a few tier 10 ships. Not bragging. I played it from almost the beginning, from beta. And so I got a bunch of tier 10 ships before I quit. But the ship I'm playing today is the Yamagiri. It is a super ship. Something that wasn't in the game when I left a few years back. So really what the Yamagiri is, it's a destroyer. And it is off of the Shimakaze line of destroyers for Japan. If you can unlock the Shimakaze, you have access to the Yamagiri. You just have to buy it and outfit it and play it. I've never played it. This is my very first game in the Yamagiri here. So it's something new for me. And one of the biggest difference between it and the Shimakaze is that you can change out what type torpedoes you're using in the middle of the match. Whereas with the Shimakaze, there's 3 different types of torpedoes you can choose from once you unlock them all and buy them all. But you have to choose before the match which one you're going to use during the match. And you can't switch out to something different. So, for instance, on the Shimakaze, the 3 different types of torpedoes, one is 20 kilometers long. That's how far it'll go. And they move at like 64 kilometers an hour. Fairly fast torpedoes, but they're very easy to detect. So they can detect them from like 2.6 kilometers away. Gives them plenty of time to try to dodge those torpedoes usually. The next set, I believe, are 12 kilometer torpedoes. And they move very fast. They're something like 68 kilometers an hour, and they do a little less damage than the 20 kilometer ones, but the detection range on them is a lot less. Where you're talking like 0.6. So it goes from like 2.6 to like 0.6 or something. I'm not sure if that's the exact number anymore, but it's something crazy like that. Very hard to detect them until the last moment. And then you have the 8 kilometer torpedoes that move at like 72 kilometers an hour. So they're very fast. But the problem is you have to be really close to somebody to use them. For instance, like this destroyer here, I would have to be super close to him, almost in detection range, which I do not like to do in a torpedo destroyer, is get anywhere near the detection range if I can help it. If you guys want to learn how to play this game, I can do some tutorials on it. You know, I'm not the greatest player at it, but I can at least do a few tutorials for you guys in case you wanted to play as well. Maybe give you some tips and insight into how some different ships are played. Here you can see the destroyer on the other team dropped a load of torpedoes my way, and I was able to dodge those torpedoes. From experience, you want to make sure you turn your ship a certain way when you get into one of these cap points. So that's something a little different about this game. It's kind of like maybe some of the Battlefield games in a way, is that you have points on the map that you need to capture, and when you capture those points, you start draining the other team's tickets, or you start, in this case, you start gaining tickets. Same thing, if you knock out their ships, you get a certain amount of tickets for knocking that out, and they lose a certain amount as well. Now, some key things with this ship over the Shimakaze. I was talking about the Shimakaze torpedoes. This ship has both the 20 kilometer torpedoes and the 12 kilometer torpedoes on it. at the same time, and you're able to switch between the two at any moment's notice. Kind of. I mean, there's a timer going on down there. That's how long it's going to take for me to reload my torpedoes. I already capped A, so I'm going to get the heck out of Dodge so I don't risk getting hit by any more of those torpedoes, because one of them could do me in. Two would definitely be fatal. So I would definitely want to get the heck out of here and see if I can't gain some points somewhere else. And you see the damage I've done in the upper right-hand corner, 3,066. Those are all with my little bitty DD guns. Now, if you're a battleship, I mean, when you hit, one gun could do more than what I've done total in damage. And if you hit somebody in the Citadel, well, you're going to do massive amounts of damage. You're talking like 10K worth of damage in one round, for one round. And battleships carry, 12 guns, some of them. So, that's some of the differences in this game which make it cool, or some of the balance. Because you got the destroyers, which are usually really good with torpedoes or little guns. There's a lot of running and gunning destroyers out there that are really good at setting other ships on fire or killing other destroyers. There's some destroyer hunters out there that are really good at that role. You have to be very careful going against them. They have radar or sonar, which can really mess you up, especially if you try to rely on your smoke or getting close to the enemy, which destroyers kind of have to get close in order for their torpedoes to be effective. Moving on to cruisers. Cruisers are usually really good with guns, but they're not usually strong enough to penetrate battleship armor. So you have to use a lot of HE rounds, or high explosive rounds, to try to set battleships on fire, and that's how they generally get a lot of their points. Now, some cruisers will carry torpedoes, and some of them will be actually pretty good, but most cruisers won't rely on those torpedoes. They'll mostly use their guns. And again, battleships have the really big, massive guns that are capable of doing massive amounts of damage in a quick period of time, whether they're using HE or AP rounds. They can devastate whoever they're going up against. The last two classes that are in the game, there are aircraft carriers, which I did play a little bit of in my time back here with World of Warships. I'm not great at them. I used to be pretty good, probably not top 20% before the big changes happened years ago. And they made some pretty big changes, and then some more balanced changes. And I liked playing it, but again, I'm not real great at it. It's going to take some work to get back to being decent with aircraft carriers. And then the last role, which was not in the game when I was playing years ago, is the submarine. I think only the US and Germany have submarines, and it's only like 3 different tiers that they have them at. I was worried the first time playing against subs, because I've never had to deal with subs in the game, and I didn't know what to expect. I thought they were going to be the ultimate DD, the ultimate destroyer here, and be able to torp everybody. But evidently, they're kind of squishy when they get spotted. So, the few times that I actually watched or got to participate in matches with subs in this recent gameplay, they most of them didn't do a very good job, or at least they got crushed pretty easily. So that's a class that I'm definitely going to look into in the future. I've already bought my first sub, I just haven't played it yet, and I'll see how it goes. I really like the destroyer line. I like being sneaky and sniping with torpedoes. The wall of skill when it comes to torpedoes. And obviously it hasn't paid off in this game. I've still only got 3,000 damage. Haven't hit with a single torpedo yet. And this ship fires like 18 torpedoes total in 3 different salvos. Whereas the Shimikaze only does 15. So it's got more torpedoes and I still haven't hit. The spread on the torpedoes is a little different. You see that highlighted window there? That's the spread. Now you can have a wider spread or a narrow spread. And even on this one, the narrow spread's a little wide. You know, it makes it a little easier for some ships to sneak through torpedoes if they know they're coming. And again, those long torpedoes, the 20-kilometer ones, they see coming from several kilometers away. And right now, that's the ones I have on. I need to switch to the shorter range torpedoes. But you'll have to keep an eye out down below when I do that, because it's kind of at a moment's notice. So right now we're on 3. If I hit 4 twice, it'll start loading up those torpedoes. And you can see on the G button, that's depth charges. Every ship has some depth charges to deal with those subs, and they are very deadly. I was able to take out a sub. I guess it was in a match after this one. Kind of fun to do too. But yeah, I was playing a battleship, I believe, in that one, and that was pretty much me and our carrier left, and I was able to take out a sub with some depth charges. So it was kind of cool. What ships do I like to play in World of Warships the most? Obviously the destroyers, but then I really like playing with battleships as well, and then probably carriers, and cruisers are my least favorite because I suck at them. Plain and simple, I'm not good with cruisers. There's a couple of cruisers I like because they just set everything on fire, but those are few and far between, especially the play on like that, because every ship in the game plays a little bit differently than others. You just have to find out what quirks work and which ones don't, like how to play it. Do you need to sit behind a mountain, you know, an island, and fire over the mountain? Do you need to be a long ways off? Do you need to be close range? You know, what is going to be most beneficial for that ship? And destroyers, they actually have several different kinds of destroyers, not just the gunboat ones that are great with guns, or the torpedo ones. By the way, these torpedoes are going to take out that battleship. You watch and see. But they also have what's called deep water torpedoes. So some torpedoes can't hurt anything but cruisers, battleships, and carriers. Then there's some other deep water torpedoes that can't hurt anything but a battleship or a carrier. So if you're in a game and you're in that ship that can only hurt battleships and carriers, and there's only one of each in the game, you're kind of screwed. You kind of got to use your guns or figure something out, because you don't have too many ships to shoot for. 2, 3, 4, 5 torpedo hits sank the ship in that one volley. And now I'm up to 75,684 damage. But my demise is coming soon. Because if you look on the mini-map here, I put myself in a stupid predicament. I went out in the middle of nowhere by myself and challenged this other team. And it's going to come back to haunt me. I always recommend you go out in packs in this game because there's safety in numbers. Kind of. I mean, really. I mean, more firepower. Just, it's a little bit safer whenever, you know, you're with other people. And I broke that rule, and just because I wanted to see what this ship could do, see how good it was, see what the detectability is. It's just like the Shimakaze in that regard. But it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, we are not going to get the win. You can see at the very top of the screen, we only have 4 ships left, and they have 7. So it hasn't been a very good match for us. So whenever I die, the game will end, unfortunately. And that ending is coming very soon. The battleship over here is going to do some massive damage to me. And then I'm going to get nailed by a group of torpedoes, I believe. Well-placed torpedoes, I might add. So, what do you guys think of World of Warships? Is it a game you want to see more of? Is it a game you might want to join me in? I'm looking forward to bringing in some of my TexasSpaceNavy team members in and maybe doing a few games with them. And maybe some of you guys would like to join as well. Let me know in the comments down below. Please send me a like and subscribe. All the attention, the comments, all of that definitely will only help make the channel grow, and you know, it'll either encourage me or discourage me from this kind of content. Here comes a nasty volley. Yeah, it took over half my hit points. It's pretty much over here. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. I plan on doing some World of Tanks coming up. Again, another game that I uninstalled because I just did not like the way the game was. I still don't like the way that game's been. I played that game when it was in beta, and all the way through. We're talking like 15 years or something. A long time I played that game, and I can't stand the fact that gold rounds are in the game. I feel like they ruined it, and you'll see. You'll see. When we get to play in World of Tanks, you'll see the difference. So here you go, into the game. It shows I got 676,709 credits or doubloons, 1,038 experience, 7,592 some other experience, I don't know. On 83,922 damage, hit target 30 times, 5 torpedo hits. Where did I finish on the team? Number 1. Thank you very much, even though we lost. Man, that Kharbarovsk, I hate that destroyer. It is nasty. Anyways, we can go over a lot of World of Warships in the future. Just let me know in the comments down below if that's something that may interest you. And then you can see here my detailed results, what I did to each ship. But yeah, that's it for me. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy. I'll see you out in the verse.